So I thought I would do something fun today. This is something different that I haven't done before, and I just learned some new things on how to use Chat GPT. What I did is I just went to the website chatgpt.com, and you have to create an account the first time you go there. But my account is free, as you see down here in the bottom left-hand corner. It says free. If I were to upgrade, I would have to pay monthly for this service. I have never paid for it. It does limit you, though, to how much you could do in a day. So it limits you on the free. You can access to GPT-5, which is a version of ChatGPT. It can limit the file uploads, limited and slower image generation, limited memory and context, limited deep research. And then it gives you more features as you upgrade your plan. But I never have upgraded the plan. I just have used the free one because I really just haven't used it that much. I use it sometimes to generate information that I'm going to use in videos, but I've never used it to create a video or anything like that. But I wanted to show you some of the things that it can do that I was kind of surprised about how well it did. And so the first one that I did, I've already generated these things because I wanted you to not have to wait. When you generate items, they can take a long time depending on what you're asking it to do. So what I did is I uploaded this picture by clicking this little plus mark, and then I added a photo, and this is just a stacked version of M16 that I uploaded from my Seestar. So what I did is I took the files off of the Seestar and moved them to my computer, and then I just added that file. It was a stacked version, so this is a JPEG file that came off of the Seestar that was live stacked. And so this is just straight off of the Seestar, but it has quite a few of exposures on it. I don't remember quite how many. Maybe I can find out. This picture was one I had done a little bit of editing on. And so this one already looks pretty good, but I wanted to see what Chat GPT, I keep saying B, but it's Chat GPT can do with this image. I've already processed this one, I guess. I'll do another one that has not been processed, but this one had been. I just wondered if it could make it better, or I was really just trying to see what it could do. And so I told it to clean up this image and sharpen the details. That's all I told it. And then this is what it came up with. And it definitely is sharper. I don't know that I love this image. It's a little too sharp. I want it to look more natural personally. But that's what Chat GPT does. So it went from this to this. And it did make it larger in the screen. It took probably four or 5 minutes for it to run through that process to do that. But I thought it was kind of interesting. And then I thought, wow, that really did do exactly what I told it to do. Maybe next time I wouldn't tell it to sharpen it quite so much. Um, because, those pillars of creation need to look more nebulous like and not so sharp. But I was kind of impressed. It did a pretty good job. And so then I decided, okay, I'm going to upload an image of Andromeda. And that's all I gave it. I gave it this image that wasn't super fabulous. This was, let's see if we can find out. Um, I think it was just this image. No, it wasn't those. Um, I can't remember which one I used. I think it must have been this one. I guess it really doesn't matter that much, but it was not a processed image. It was just when the Seestar saves 2 folders to your computer, it saves one that says N31, and then it saves another one that says N31 subs. This image came out of the N31 folder, so it's, I think it was a JPEG file. And so not a super high quality file. And you can see that there's not a whole lot of detail, especially out further in this image. And I said, enhance this image to make it look like a beautiful astrophotography picture of the Andromeda galaxy. And it took probably 5-6 minutes, and this is what it gave me from that image. And that is something that looks fabulous. I've seen those on some of the um, Facebook forum groups and thought, man, how are they getting them to be that beautiful? They must have saved hundreds of hours of integration time, but maybe they're using Chat GPT. I really don't know. I have no idea. I know there are people that are skilled with post processing that can create this kind of thing out of images, but I'm just not one of those. But man, look at the detail on that, and it is oriented the same direction. It's brightened that, it added a little bit of that color. Wow, I think that's just beautiful. And that took 5 minutes. So I am not encouraging anybody to do this with their images and pass them off as their own. But because I think that's part of the hobby is the learning, the post processing, the pride of doing your own images. But man, you certainly could. And that image just came straight off the Seestar, and it was not a fabulous image. It was obviously taken when there was some moonlight or something that was muting it a little bit. But man, that did quite a good job. I was very impressed with that, and that's when I decided I'm going to do a video about this and show people that that is possible. So it went from that to that in 5 minutes. Um, I know that there's going to be naysayers out there that say, oh, that's cheating, whatever. As beginners, I am not this skilled, and I'm the first one to admit it that I could not create this from that. But I thought it was interesting that we could do that, and I did it for free, and it took me 5 minutes. And maybe it is cheating. I don't know. Everybody can decide that for themselves, but that's what I created. So another thing I use ChatGPT for is I said, what DSOs are available to me tonight above 20 degrees? And this took a surprisingly a large amount of time for it to figure this out, because I guess it had to figure out, well, where am I and what's available, and then what's available above 20 degrees and where is it? And then this is what it comes up with. It says, here are a number of deep sky objects, or DSOs, that should be reasonably well placed tonight from West Valley City, Utah. Well, I'm not in West Valley City, but that's close enough to me that it would be the same for where I am. I think it just looks at the IP address from your computer and locates the internet hub for that area. I'm close to West Valley City, but I'm probably a good 40, 50 miles away from West Valley City. But then it says it's above around 20 degrees altitude, especially after twilight when the sky is fully dark. If you give me a local time when you'll observe, like after sunset, pre midnight, I could have given it more detail. I can narrow it down further. For now, here's a good targets to consider by type and ease of observing. And then it gave me this list of all of these objects. And all of these I know are available. So M31, M32, M110, the Triangulum Galaxy, M15 is a globular cluster. And then it tells you over here on the right hand column when is a good time to image them, how bright they are. It gives you some information here on the right. So that has given us probably 10 or so objects that are available for me tonight. So if you're just flying by the seat of your pants and you say, hey, I decided I want an image tonight. What's available? And you want to just get it set up quickly. ChatGPT can give you some suggestions. Now, I do have to tell you that ChatGPT is not always correct about everything. And so you do have to use your due diligence if you're using ChatGPT for something that's really important. Say you want it to create a law document for you, do use your due diligence and verify things that it's telling you. Maybe doing this kind of project where we're just imaging things is not all that vital. And if we go to look at N31 and it's not available, it's not the end of the world. But I wouldn't probably use GPT to create a will for me and call it good. I would probably do some research and make sure that that was really true. I hope what I'm trying to say is making sense. Then after it created that list, it says, if you want, I can compute a customized list of objects exactly above 20 degrees for your location and your observing time. And it will give you the declination and things if you want it to, so you know what to aim for. Do you want that? And all I would have to do is type in the little box that came up after this was produced. It kind of looks like this Ask Anything. It just gives you a new box to type new instructions, and you can have it modify the thing it just created for you. Like I could say, um, customize this list for things only above 40 degrees, or whatever how I wanted it to change that list. I have noticed when I do that, sometimes it will come up with um, different objects. Like I know that the M31 is above 40 degrees, but sometimes it will give me a new list with different objects and not necessarily all of these same ones. Um, so that's just, something to keep in mind is sometimes the list changes more than you want it to, but you can give it further directions and it will be more precise about whatever additional instructions you're trying to get. The next one I did is I said, when will the Thor's Helmet Nebula be visible for me? And it took a minute to do this one as well. And it said, nice choice. Thor's helmet is a winter southern target in Canis Major. I checked its published coordinates and visibility resources, then compute when it will be above 20 degrees altitude from your location. And it's again saying that I'm in West Valley City for tonight. And then it gave me tonight, it's above 20 degrees altitude, roughly between 4 a.m. and 10:25 a.m. Well, of course, I'm not going to be imaging at 10:25 a.m. because the sun will be up. And then it says, practically speaking, the useful observing window is the pre-dawn hours, roughly 4 to 7 a.m. before the sky brightens. I computed this window for your location and time, or location and date. And then the transit or the highest point is at about 7:09 a.m. when it reaches the maximum altitude of about 36 degrees. So it gives me a lot of notes that would be handy. I should have, when I created that question, been a little bit more specific of be I should have given it maybe the times like between 8 p.m. and 5 a.m. or whatever, specifics. The more specific you are, the better your result will be. And then it gives me some quick notes about this object that I just had it compute. Then it says, what do you want to do next? And it brings up, this box here at the bottom so you can ask your next question. So I decided, what is the best way to image a comet using a Seestar S50? That's been a hot topic on the forums lately. It says, excellent question. Imaging a comet with the Seestar could be very rewarding, but it's a little trickier than photography or photographing nebula or galaxies because comets move across the sky. Here's a detailed step-by-step guide tailored to the Seestar's capabilities and limitations. And then right here it tells you, gives you a little overview of the Seestar. It's a smart telescope with a 250 millimeter focal length and 50 millimeter aperture. Uh, we don't necessarily need that information, but it's just telling us an overview. And then it's saying, here's your planning session. Use apps or the sky atlas in the app you could use and find the coordinates. And then you can update the Seestar's object database. Now, a lot of the comets are now in the database, but it does not track them. Oh, I think it does tell us that when I was reading it before. That is telling us to set up the Seestar, place it on a stable level surface or a tripod. You could do it in EQ mode. Let it auto-align with its plate-solving system, and then manually enter the comet's position, and it's telling us how to do that. Input the current coordinates for your local time. And then imaging settings for the exposure start with 10 to 15-second exposures. And that's where Chat GPT is a little bit off. It's saying set it for 10 to 15 seconds. Well, there's not an option to set the Seestar to 15 seconds, but it does have 10-second, 20-second, 30-second, or 60-second options. And so it didn't calculate that and explain it right there. That's just something because I use the Seestar, I know that. So I would probably either do it at 10 or 20-second exposures. I know people have been doing 20 or 30s on the forums, so those may work too, but you'd have to try out what's working for you. It says avoid longer stacks, like over 10 minutes. Comets move, and stars will start to trail if you track the sky instead of the comet. And that's what the Seestar does. And so what people are doing is they're avoiding the longer stacks. And then it says stacking. Use the live stack feature, which is automatic with the Seestar. Let it run to 5 to 10 minutes. You'll see the comet brightening as more frames combine. If the comet drifts slightly, the app will still plate solve and keep the field centered, but the comet will slowly blur, and that is normal. We don't want it to be normal, so then it tells us right here, focus, tap on a bright star nearby. Use manual focus to get it razor sharp and then return to the comet coordinates. And then here's an advanced trick. Since the Seestar doesn't yet track comets directly, every 5 to 10 minutes, pause stacking, recenter the comet manually, then resume stacking. It doesn't go into great detail about how to do that, but you do it in the sky atlas that is in the Seestar while it's imaging. You click to stop your imaging, and then you click the sky atlas icon in the bottom right-hand corner, and then you recenter the comet and then resume your imaging. And, it doesn't give that much explanation, but it's pretty good at giving you some detailed information. And later you can realign and stack those subframes on the comet's nucleus. But if you do it that way in the Seestar app, it theoretically will do it all there in the live stack. Post-processing, it talks about doing that and how you can align the stars, best conditions for it, and then some bonus tips. And then it says, would you like me to show optimal Seestar S50 settings, like the gain, exposure? A lot of things that maybe as a beginner we wouldn't know how to do. And so that was the last one that I thought that I would do with Chat GPT, just showing you what you could do in this tool. Again, all of this was done under the free version. What happens with the free version is after it has used so much data or you've done so many requests, it will come up and say you've met your daily limit and it won't let you do any additional ones. And then you can either just wait till the next day or you can upgrade your account and buy the monthly subscription rates. I've never bought the monthly, but I think it did a really fabulous job, especially on the Andromeda Galaxy. Wow, that looks beautiful. That's something I could post in the Facebook group and people would think I was a master post processor, but I'm being fully transparent that this is not me. This is Chat GPT, and this is more like what I got. So I thought it would be an interesting video to share with you what ChatGPT can do. And maybe you should give it a try. At least try the free stuff and see how you like it. Um, when you go to, let me just briefly do it. You type up here in your website, chatgpt.com, and then it comes to this page. The first time you come there, it will have you create your account, and then you just type something in here. If you want to add an image, you click the plus. You can add image. You can do all these other things. I haven't done a whole lot of these deep research or anything, and it tells you over here if you hover over it how many options you have. So I guess it doesn't tell you that here. Let's see. Just deep research tells you those limits. And I don't really know what they are. I just use this until it tells me you're out of tries, and then I just close it and try again later. I haven't really delved into it that much, but I thought it was fun and I thought you'd enjoy seeing it. Well, we're wishing clear skies to everybody. We have been clouded over for days and days, and it's getting a little frustrating. I'm about ready to image all the clouds instead of deep sky objects. But anyway, I hope everybody else is having a good time with their sea stars, and we appreciate. If you haven't yet gotten a Seestar, I'll put our affiliate link to ZWO in the description. But thanks for watching.